Hey, didn't Don Lemon get reinstated?
Oh yeah, you saw that video of the
Don Lemon's got to get gender like some kind of education or something like that.
I
That's
think
how he
so
gets
because he
reinstated?
said Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime. You know, that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the
You're in your
typical talking
20s or
point.
30s, you're in your prime.
That was pretty surprising to hear him say that.
We are live. Welcome back to The Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and the lying Don Lemon. On this episode, we're not actually going to talk about Don Lemon, not worth our time, but I did see something like he got reinstated or something like that at CNN, but he's got to go through some kind of gender sensitivity training.
Yeah, the word on the street is that him and his co-host don't get along anyway. That they've all got big egos at CNN. Every single person thinks they know exactly what's going on. Don Lemon, you could see the uncomfortability when he started bringing up that Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Really, what was he doing? He was just, covering for Biden, saying, no, see, Biden's healthy, whatever, but not a good look for Don Lemon. And this
You're
is
making
after he got
excuses
demoted.
for Don Lemon?
No, that's
No,
not
he's
what
not.
I said
What?
at all.
Come
on, William.
That's not fair.
William,
My God. Oh, jeez.
William is always after the MAGA movement. It's unfair. He's
I'm
willing to-
after the MAGA
willing-
movement. You're
William-
calling yourself the head of the MAGA
Yeah.
movement. I
No,
think
no, I'm
President
saying you're
Trump would
always
take
after the
offense to
MAGA
that.
movement. I'm not the head of the MAGA movement.
Well, I was going after you there, but then you said I was going
I
after
know.
the
Pick
MAGA
your battles,
movement.
buddy.
Yeah, William, you're more like the country club Republican kind of guy. Although those
Really?
issues don't really work with
Don't you dare
Well,
say
look at the
I'm
sweater with
country
the
club
collared shirt.
Republican.
That's what you look
that.
like.
Sweater, collared shirt. Mr.
I'm only
Straight-laced
doing this
himself.
because he told me to wear this kind of stuff. He told me to
I
wear
know
the
it.
collar,
Lean into it.
lean into the character. Well, if this is the character, man,
I
might
didn't
have
say
to
lead into
reconsider.
character. Do yourself. That's what you are.
I'm not
You
a
come on-
country club
you came on
Republican,
set.
though.
I know. I'm just saying. That's straight-laced William, by the way. MAGA Jesse, obviously, most people know. Joining us also 3 minutes before broadcast is Bridget. She must have had to get her hair done or something. What happened, Bridget?
Wrong one. I'm just figuring out my day today.
Bridget will be reading your comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. You probably should be going to Rumble as much as possible because they don't seem to want to silence us like Facebook and YouTube. And also running the dials, as always, is Dawson. We want to do a live reaction with the driver's license for illegals, which is on the Senate floor in Minnesota right now. Not really now, but it was supposed to be now. They just took a break. People watching this in the future, this is Tuesday, what is it, February 21st. February 21st, 2023. We're on the precipice of an earth-shattering, once in a, generation snowstorm apparently coming. And,
That's what they say.
We get used to this in Minnesota. This is always happening, but it does seem to be a pretty big one. They say 18 to 22 inches in the Twin Cities metro area.
It's going to make that Halloween snowstorm look like a joke in comparison, the one
That's
that everyone
right.
talks about.
And just so you guys know the struggles we go through here at The Truth Hurts, we've got Jesse, who apparently can't park his car at his apartment building; it'll get towed. We got William, who can't get out of his
That's a
driveway
long
when you got
story.
a flake of snow that falls. You got Dawson, who has
That's
a bumper
unfair,
that just
but-
completely rips off of his car, and you got Bridget, who apparently has a hard time commuting here even before a flake falls in the sky, because that's what it is. It was weather delay, wasn't it, Bridget? There you go. She also doesn't know where the mics are. She doesn't want to be. She's like, I don't want to be part of this one. All right. We were watching the Senate floor session. We want to bring it to you live. They just recessed. So let's bring up this felon voting right now. Sorry, not right now. About an hour ago on the Senate floor. This is a interesting debate that was occurring on an amendment that said basically if you're convicted of raping a child, you don't get your rights restored. Now remember, the Democrats, what they want to do is allow felon voting. We've even had this discussion, Truth Hurts program, like, hey, maybe this isn't all bad. Like, for instance, nonviolent crimes, right? Like
Or people that are wrongfully charged.
Wrongfully
people that,
charged, yep.
If they have to go to prison, then all of a sudden you find out that they're wrongfully charged, or even if the justice system doesn't correct that, those people should be able to vote.
Yeah. Well, that's a tricky slope there because
I'm a bit more
Right,
iffy
of
about
course.
all this personally.
right. But I think what we could all agree with is violent criminals, certainly child rapists, should not be able to vote.
Agreed.
So here's a discussion. This was brought up. This amendment was brought up on the floor. We caught it when Senator Nathan Wiesenberger which don't be confused with one of the cast members, ZZ Top, was on the Senate floor talking about this amendment. Let's watch this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of this amendment. I don't think that people who are raping children, pedophiles who get out on probation, should be voting on laws that could potentially lessen their sentence in the future. And I've heard we have decisions made by the court. Now, I would maybe argue that some of the decisions that our court is making isn't working. We have 700 car thefts in Minneapolis in the month of January because we have a revolving door court system. I know I have friends who are police officers that just, it's hard for them to even stop someone and bring them in because they know they're going to be let out or it's just going to be dismissed. That's not how we deal with criminals. There has to be some accountability. So if someone who rapes kids gets out of jail and is on probation and a law comes up that says now it's okay for a 15-year-old to have consensual sex with someone that's up to 10 years older than them, they could be voting on that, and that could lessen their probation time. That's asinine and that's ridiculous. I don't want to see, I have 3 children, and many other people have children in here. I'm sure they would be very disappointed if their child was raped and molested and a pedophile was let out of jail and this person was allowed to vote, and their vote was a reason that would lessen their crime against their children. These children are going to be living with this for the rest of their lives. Support this amendment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, let's pause it right there.
Senator French.
And this is HF 28, so this is already passed in the House. Basically allows felons to vote. Unlike the driver's license for illegals, has nothing to do with voting, right? Right, William? Absolutely zero to do with voting.
Absolutely nothing.
They just want to make sure people can get to and from work that aren't supposed to be here in the first place, right? All right, so we're going to cover that in just a second, where that debate's at. But here's on felon voting, an amendment that would stop the child rapists from getting restoration of their voting rights. Seems pretty logical. You rape a child. First of all, I don't know if you should even take another breath in your life, but let alone shouldn't be able to vote. All right. And so a very common sense thing. What we're going to show you is the Democrats' attempt to kill this amendment.
Right, and before that happened, Senator Bobby Joe Champion, he is the Senate author of this bill. He is the one who is pushing this. He was arguing that people want to have these people reintegrated into the community, and that's how they don't offend again. And Senator Eric Lucero stood up and said, I don't think there is anybody who wants child rapists to be reintegrated back into the community. He was pointing out how his community had several of those problems in the past before, and it just shows how out of step or corrupt Bobby Joe Champion is.
Yeah, I mean, once again, this amendment's just fine-tuning it right to child rapists. I once again think it could be any kind of violent crime. I think there's maybe an argument for nonviolent criminals to have a restoration of votes after serving time in prison. I think that's a good conversation to have. Did I just say that? No, I sound like a politician.
Yeah,
Let's
good
have the
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah, it's all about
Oh my
the
God, it
conversations.
is infectious. It really is.
But what's brilliant here is that the Republicans are forcing DFLers to take a position on child rapists, whether or not they support them in their voting rights or whether they oppose them.
Which should just be common sense. No games need to be played. Yes, child rapists should never be able to get to vote ever again, right? And then
Right.
let's talk about castrating them. All right, anyhow, I guess once again, maybe I don't trust the government in castration because maybe they get it wrong, but, well, you don't hear about a lot of child rapists. Are there good
Being falsely charged, you're
Yeah,
saying?
I'm trying to think. Maybe I'd have to research that. I'm not aware
Right, I'm
of
sure
that.
there's
This
examples.
definitely
but it's-
happens with murder charges,
Sure.
no doubt about it.
Right.
Child rapists you don't hear about too often.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because that's my argument against the death penalty. I'm obviously morally for the death penalty, eye for an eye, but the government gets things wrong, and so I don't trust them to make that judgment. So castration, that might be very dangerous. Of course, Democrats are pro-castration when it comes to a child, 9-year-old, that says, I'm actually a girl.
Yep.
Chop. Sickening. So let's see. So the Democrats, this is Nick Frentz of Mankato. He is amending this amendment. This is a tactic used to kill an amendment. And the logic here is if we can amend this amendment and push it back at the Republicans so it's no longer kosher for them to vote on this amendment, you essentially killed it, and the author will just withdraw the amendment. Once again, why on earth would anyone be against a child rapist being prohibited from voting? All right, go ahead and play this, Dawson.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, members, for this discussion. I'm struck by the words of Senator Limmer. Some people should not have the right to vote. Madam President, I offer the A50
Yeah.
amendment to the A9
Right.
amendment.
The Secretary will report the amendment.
And I request a roll call, Madam President.
There will be a roll call.
Senator Frantz moves to amend the A9 amendment to House File number 28 as follows. Page 1, line 4, delete everything after of. This is the A50 amendment.
Senator Frantz.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and thank you, members. The A50 amendment says that you may not regain the right to vote while on probation if you commit the felony under United States Code Title 18, Section 2383, and are guilty of rebellion or insurrection against the United States.
It's unbelievable.
Members, this is someone who should not have the right to vote, and I ask members to support the A50 amendment to the A9 amendment. Thank you, Madam President.
Oh,
Member
so
Ryan?
clever, so clever. You know, and I actually don't know if I'd have a problem with that if I trust the judicial system when it came to prosecuting the insurrection, because once again, you see what the Democrats are doing, hyper politicizing this. But yeah, if it was insurrection against the United States, in some regards, if it was really truly what they were doing, yeah, I mean, who would be against that, right?
And Senator Friends there, what he was saying was, what's shocking to me about what Senator Limmer said is that some people don't deserve the right to vote. So then he makes an amendment to the amendment to prevent people from being able to vote. He's using his own logic against himself. He's arguing that everybody should be able to vote. Well, except for January 6 people, except for Trump supporters, Ultra MAGA. You know, those are the people that he wants to try to stop from going to the polls. It shows the inconsistency. It shows that these Democrats are just in it to win their elections, and they don't want a fair
You
election
know, William,
process.
he just got caught up by the media twice. We were talking about the first one. There he goes. He just took the talking point of the media saying that Trump supporters are insurrectionists.
Well,
Clever.
that's
Yeah.
no.
You're
I'm
li-
not.
they're
playing into the
inside your
media.
head
That's
there,
exactly. No,
I know what he's thinking. I can't even believe you gave the devil his due on that
I'm
one.
saying that's exactly what Friends is talking about.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Peaceful
But
yeah. So
protesting.
what are
I
we
wouldn't even
talking
give him
about
the
here? I'm just quoting what he's saying.
no,
here.
he's not. But that's what you're saying is now it's the Trump supporters. You
You
injected
know what?
that.
What they should have done is
That's
come
exactly
back
what
with
he's
an
talking
amendment
about.
to the amendment
know,
to the
I know.
amendment, saying that if you are guilty of rioting or looting, you should not have your rights restored.
Yeah, we should. Well, you can't amend an amendment, so
What if you appeal the ruling of the chair and change the Senate rules?
Well, they did appeal the ruling of the chair, and the chair said that the A50 amendment to the amendment was germane. So she argued, you know, Ann Rest, she was up there doing the presiding over
yeah,
because Senator Champion was going and
Senator Ann Put You to Rest was presiding over the Senate at that
yep,
point.
exactly. And
That's
Senator
clever.
Bobby Joe Champion was the one presenting the bill,
He's at
arguing
least
for the bill.
he's at least somewhat entertaining. Boy, that guy's very entertaining. But Senator Ann Put You to Rest. Boy, she's going to be coming back and presiding over the Senate tonight. Well, she will because it's Bobby Joe Champion's bill, right? So usually the author of the bill, if the president, they step down to the chamber.
Yep.
All right,
and
let's.
Eric Lucero, he had pointed out how it was why this amendment to the amendment shouldn't be considered germane because it changes the entire amendment from state statutes on child rapists to federal statute on the insurrectionists.
Right. Let's fast forward a little bit. I don't want to play Lucero's audio because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter how good a point you make. They're just going to go with the party line. But I do want to stop on Lucero to see what color blazer he's wearing today. What are you going with, yellow, pink?
I want to say yellow.
I'm going to go with blue. Oh,
It's great.
no. What the heck?
He picks today to be normal. Man.
Yeah, no kidding. Is he sensitive because of our first episode of Icebreakers? We're kind of making fun of Dawson's nodding his head. Yeah, yep. Walter and I had a little bit of fun with that.
I like his haircut. Or is he wearing a toupee or something? It looks like he has more hair than usual.
No, he's not wearing a toupee. That's his hair.
No, because his hair has definitely been thinning. Look at that. He's got a full head of
I
hair.
don't know. I think that's normal hair there.
This might be slander if I'm wrong.
Yeah, this is
but
really unfortunate, you youngsters. You know, men get to a certain age and the hair starts going away. Luckily, I don't have that problem. I have some of the other problems, slower metabolism. All right, let's keep playing it. I'm actually shocked that he's just playing a gray blazer today. Maybe he'll come back later with a sequin blazer. This eventually goes to a vote. Great job on the fast forward here, Dawson. Perfect. There we go. There's the vote. And so this is appealing. Essentially, it's appealing the decision of the chair, but it's actually upholding the decision of the chair. It says appeal the decision of the chair.
Yep.
So yes means you're with the chair on this. So as I predicted before, this will pass on a party line vote, and then it's going to go back to the author of the amendment, which is Warren Limmer, the dinosaur from Maple Grove area, Maple Grove Rogers. And go ahead and hit play.
Upheld.
There you go.
Further discussion on the A9 amendment. I'm sorry. The A50 amendment.
There you go.
excuse
That's Senator Ann Put You to Rest presenting over the Senate.
I've never
there.
heard her talk before. I see why you say that.
Oh,
Very sleepy
Yes.
style voice.
I'm going to wait for the board to be cleared.
stimulating.
Might have to take a nap here, Jake.
Yeah, well, there is a retiring room behind the chamber there.
Senator Limmer.
I think her mind's always in that retiring
Thank you,
room.
Madam President. I'll withdraw the previous amendment.
Okay, so that's the bill author
The amendment.
withdrawing the amendment, and then what
is
basically happens is
withdrawn.
Senator Dietzick, which is Dawson's senator and the Senate Majority Leader, the Democrats, then recesses, and we won't see the Senate come back to the chamber till 5:15 when Snowmageddon starts. And apparently they're trying to get some committees in because they've canceled the legislature Wednesday and Thursday. They might still do a Zoom committee meeting just to keep the process going, but they're essentially not going to meet tomorrow and Wednesday, or sorry, tomorrow and Thursday. Once again, for people watching this in the future, we're on the cusp of, like, they say up to 22 inches of snow in the metro area. For people that aren't from Minnesota and have no concept of what 22 inches of snow is falling in a very short period of time, it's ridiculous. Like, our jobs become snow removal, right? Like, I can only imagine what my morning is going to look like tomorrow if all this snow falls, and
Oh,
it seems like
man.
it will. We got a comment?
Yeah, we have a comment from Mike on Facebook that maybe one of you guys can comment on. He says, with the cheating methods they already have in place with the addition of driver's license for all now, which equates to more DFL votes, I don't see any way Republicans will ever hold power in St. Paul again.
Yeah, okay, so that's a great point. That's a good segue to the issue at hand because, once again, they were going to do driver's license for illegals. That vote was going to be after the felon voting, which there wasn't a ton of amendments for this one. The driver's license for illegals, there's like 40-some amendments for. So it's going to be a long debate. I honestly don't know how they're going to do it because, you know, with the amount of amendments, they're going to go till the wee hours of the night, like into the a.m.
Republicans may be successful in pushing this one off
Yeah.
if people get scared about the snowstorm.
And what we're doing is we're looking at HF4. Why don't you pull that up real quick, Dawson? We got an article on it. I'm just going to look here. Senate. Minnesota Senate. No. Our article on it. So this is something William put together. William, why don't you introduce this bill to everyone? We've talked about it a little bit before.
Yeah, we've talked about HF4 quite a bit. It's already passed the Minnesota House. Of course, they had a big celebration to commemorate the fact, but it's going to have to go back to the House as it has already been amended in a Senate committee, but now they're bringing it to the floor sometime tonight. This would give illegal immigrants or non-citizens in Minnesota a driver's license that is identical to yours. There's no distinguishing features that give you any kind of indication that it is not a citizen. And this is a problem because you can register to vote with a driver's license. And there are about an estimated 95,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota. And if you've been paying attention to our statewide elections recently, that's more than enough to swing an election. And as we've also reported recently, the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce has come out in support of these driver's licenses for illegal aliens, which we talk about in this article here. Now, of course, their main motive here is that they want cheap labor. In their letter to the Minnesota House, they say that, well, you know, with the labor shortage, we need more illegal immigrants on the job site. which, do with that argument what you will. I think it's more crony capitalism than anything. But this just goes to show how establishment groups really don't look out for the best interests of Minnesotans. I get angry when I see this kind of thing happen because, again, it's going to be abused. I'm sure the MAGA movement, which you accused me of attacking, Jesse, would also be. By the way, I'm part of the MAGA movement. I was
You're
all
definitely
for.
not.
I was all for Trump in
shots fired.
2020 and in 2016. I couldn't vote in 2016.
You
but
either
I
have
was-
loyalty to it or you don't. So we're at where we're at.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I've been cast out of the MAGA movement. So there's that.
You
but
exited yourself.
I exited myself. Okay. Well, you closed the door to me. That's
What are you? You're like David Hanna, them in GOP. You can't
Sure.
come in. We don't need you.
Yeah,
So
so
we
when is
actually
the
do need you.
Trump
we need more
movement
votes.
full of purists?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of like a big tent, with Trump supporting LGBT
I thought we were talking about
rights
driver's
and-
licenses for illegals. William,
I
can
was
you get
getting
back
your
to that?
opinion on
Jeez.
this. I was asking
William,
for your
what
opinion.
did
You just
do?
socked
Wake
me
up
in the
today
face.
and go, well, I won't be here on Wednesday and Thursday, so let me start getting at
I mean, duke it out.
poor MAGA
Nitpicky,
Jesse.
every little word.
No, he's the one who was attacking me this time. I was asking for his opinion, and he's like, "Well, you're not part of the MAGA movement." What was that?
You falsely claim to be. If you sit there and shit on Trump every second you get, that's definitely not a part of the MAGA movement.
Well, because you set up this dynamic where you're apparently the Trump guy and I'm apparently the country club Republican. I took serious offense to that.
Okay.
claim.
yeah,
okay,
that is
all
a
right.
little unfair. I'll admit you're not a country club
I
Republican.
retract that
Thank
comment.
you,
It was
thank
not
you.
fair.
All right,
but
driver's licenses for illegals.
I just got to say
Yes.
something real quick. We
Okay.
had some supporters come in, get a tour of the headquarters, and they love MAGA Jesse. There's 3 women. Love MAGA Jesse. Jesse seems to have a fan base that's mostly made of women. I don't get it. But anyhow, they love MAGA Jesse, and they say about William, he'll see his way eventually. So they still have hope for you, William.
No, they still have hope for me.
I
Well,
do
they
too.
were very friendly, so I appreciate that about them.
Dawson, will you go back to that article? Just hit refresh. You had hyperlinked to the wrong bill, so I think it was like pre-kindergarten or something. So just refresh that page. Now click on HF4.
Oh, is that a different?
Yeah,
HF4?
you had some other bill in there. So
Oh, gotcha.
this is what are we calling this group of 30 wackos in the house? What did we had a kind of working
Yeah.
name for them. The 30.
30. It's 35 of them.
Oh, the nut job 30 or the 30 nut jobs?
There's 35 of them.
I know, but we're just gonna round down to 30 because it's generally these 30 that are always on these bills, and it includes people like Brad Tabke, him.
You sure he's a he/him?
Our fan,
He looks kind of
our fan
androgynous
Cheryl
these days.
Yoakum, she's on that. It's always the same characters. I don't know what Tabke is. They
I don't know.
clown. Yeah, that's what he is. He clown.
Mhm.
God, I can't believe that guy's a legislator again. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's got the nut job 30 attached to it. Let's go up to scroll down. And so it worked its way through the House, third reading on the 30th, and a vote. It passed on party lines 69 to 60. Go ahead and click on that vote. So there are go down a little bit. You see to midway to the right, you'll see a vote. There you go. Click on that. 6960. So I think one Democrat was absent that day. So let me just, boy, I've been out for a week here. 70 to 64. That's the dynamic, right, in the Minnesota House. Like, why am I having a brain fart right now? Yes, 60 to 70, 70 to 64. That's 134.
right.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so one Democrat
Yep,
missed.
that's
and then-
correct.
and I remember we wrote about this there's a couple Republicans that were gone. But anyhow, scroll to the very bottom there, Dawson. We're just going to kind of show you. Go to view vote on the bottom. There you go. Perfect. That's actually how you can see who voted. That's going to link to a page that comes from the Journal. And then you can see basically on party lines, all Democrats that were present voted for it. All Republicans were against it, including Matt Norris from Blaine, who won by a very slim margin. We had a door-knocking team in his district letting his voters know exactly how he voted. We've got to have an image of that lit piece. What do we have that on Twitter?
Twitter,
Truth
Facebook,
Social.
Truth.
Yeah, put up our Twitter account. So Matt Norris, who, and by the way, Jesse, you were on the ground this weekend. Didn't you tell me
Yep.
something that like there's some accusations he's doing a little what do you call it?
Carpetbagging?
Carpetbagging?
You know, that's what's the word on the street. I can't confirm any of these details. From what I hear, Matt Norris was working for the DFL before he was ever elected. He was propped up by them. The DFL said, hey, we need somebody to run in this district. We'll get you an apartment. The accusation is that the DFL was buying this guy's apartment so that he would have a place to stay, and he lives right on the edge of the district. It doesn't look like this was a naturally occurring situation. It looks like he moved into the district to be able to run for the district.
All right, top right there, you can click on the images. There's yellow, what do you call those things? Lit pieces. Yeah, either one. Either one's fine. There you go. There's Radical Matt Norris supporting driver's license for illegals. We got door teams. Thank you to our wonderful supporters out in various parts of Minnesota bringing attention to these important issues. This bill was amended. Let's go back to the bill page. Dawson. Got Dawson working a lot. Dawson's a one-man team, by the way. You know, it's pretty amazing. He's doing sound, audio, directing, and pulling up things on the fly. Appreciate that. We probably should advertise for an intern, shouldn't we? All right, go back a couple pages. We want to go back to the main page. This bill has been amended already in the Senate. Oh, no, one more. There you go. Scroll down to the Senate. I think it was amended. Where did I see that? Yeah, amended in the Senate committee. So it's going to have to go back to the House floor if it passes as amended today in the Senate. If it happens, by the way.
Yep.
We don't know. But, I mean, just what do you guys think? Gun to your head. Does this thing go down tonight? Or is it
The
gonna get
Democrats definitely want to push it through. I think that the Democrats have a lot of, tricks up their sleeves. I think that they're going to pull it off. It's going to be disappointing. I think it's going to go back to the House. But if the GOP wisens up and they, prevent any of, delay, there might be a chance to hold this thing out.
That's their plan. They have, what, you said 47 amendments in there? I mean, if there's any time that they could successfully push a bill off, I think it would be today. Again, it's gonna be a game of chicken. Like, are they gonna let this bill pass, or are we just gonna have to let it go? Because I know a lot of those DFLers aren't gonna want to drive home in the cities.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. Winter storm warning remains in effect from 3 p.m. this afternoon to 6 p.m. Thursday. Heavy snow and blowing snow expected. Snow accumulations of 4 to 7 inches Tuesday and Tuesday night. Falling an additional 14 to 19 inches Wednesday afternoon into Thursday. That's a ton.
So it's really
But then-
tomorrow that's the problem.
Well, no, but it's still 7 inches. 7 inches and blowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not something you drive home. I was coming back from Cross Lake. We were up on a trip for the weekend. I was coming back from Cross Lake yesterday, and it maybe had 2 inches of snow. I fishtailed so bad, my wife thought we were basically on our deathbed. But due to my good maneuvering skills, I corrected that thing on the fly, and we kept tracking forward. I also have a Ford pickup truck, so very light back. I should put some sandbags in it. It wasn't four-wheel drive, though. So total accumulations will range from 18 to 24 inches, winds gusting as high as 40 miles per hour by Wednesday. So, I mean, at some point it does come into play the weather here, and then if they're not going to meet till, probably not this weekend. I guess it could technically adjourn till Friday. That is another option. So there's a chance that this thing doesn't go down tonight, hence why we wanted to talk about now and not live stream later. Plus, I got to get William back home. He's got to go to basically the far east side of the state, and, we probably won't see him again because apparently he can't drive out his driveway when there's a
It's a
flake in
long driveway. You haven't
there.
seen
I'm just
it,
saying.
Jake.
Just
And it
saying,
gets
William.
icy.
Just saying, you gotta figure that out. All right, Jesse, you want to talk about something on January 6th. What did you find?
Yeah, no, there is a very interesting video, and maybe people have been hearing this for themselves, but Kevin McCarthy, who, we've gone after certain times, but Kevin McCarthy is doing something very incredible. He is handing over 41,000 hours of footage of January 6th to Tucker Carlson. So that means that Tucker Carlson will be able to expose how this was actually unfolding, how were the doors opened, and that's actually what this video shows, how these magnetic doors were opened.
Point of order real quick. Okay?
Sure.
I don't like how you just characterize it. Yes, we went after Kevin McCarthy. We know who Kevin McCarthy is. He is a politician. He is a Washington insider. That has not changed just because he's done this.
Right, I said he's doing something incredible.
Because of the 20 conservatives that forced a very tough time to get a vote
Right.
for him.
That
as
doesn't
speaker.
make him incredible.
Right.
His action was good.
You follow
He
my
made
you
one
follow my
good
logic
move.
here, Jesse? It's like it's not
I
like Kevin
feel like
McCarthy
it's-
is all of a sudden seeing the light to
we're-
go,
we're
oh, I'm
mincing
one of the good
words.
guys. It's the fact that these conservatives have now put him in a box where he's got to go do things like
We're
this.
totally mincing words. You know, he was the one who said in the press conference, you know, I'm not sitting here praising him like he's this great, you know,
No, I'm not
hero.
saying that.
I'm
I just want to
saying that
make
he's-
sure people understand why this is happening.
Right, and maybe even
we covered
if
that
those
all week.
holdouts didn't happen, then maybe he would still be pushing on this. I don't know. There's no way of knowing because these things already happened.
Yeah,
But
we
that's
don't.
one of the concessions he made, though. Like one of the promises was he'd release the January 6th footage.
Right, and do an investigating committee and everything like that. But Dawson, go ahead and pull up that video I had sent you on Twitter. It's very, very interesting. I think that this is something that probably a lot of people haven't seen yet, and it documents exactly what's going on here.
Should we make it full screen? Okay, that works too.
And just like that, they open.
Those are the idiots.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's
So that is
interesting.
it's extremely interesting what was going on right there. We see him motion, you know, pointing up. All of a sudden, you know, he tried the doors before, they were locked. He gives a signal. All of a sudden, they open up. It doesn't make any sense. And you know, this is a combination of agent provocateurs. This is a combination of dumb people who got fooled. I was always on the Alex Jones InfoWars side saying, "Do not enter the Capitol building." That's exactly what they wanted, you know, January 6th people to do, because it allows them to discredit us then. And that's unfortunately what happened. You know, people got fooled into going into the Capitol there. Good people, Trump people. But when I watched January 6th, when I saw everything that was unfolding, deep down in my stomach, I knew the day of something went wrong. Something isn't making sense here. Because, you know, some people, you know, were hooting and hollering, saying, "Oh, that's awesome. I like what these people are doing." I said, no. I know that something has gone wrong here. You know, they were not supposed to enter the Capitol building. Somehow those doors got unlocked. We still have to find out the answers of exactly how, but that just showed the footage of it happening.
Was this I didn't see Tucker Carlson as the Twitter account. So
No.
How did we get this footage? It came from a release.
Right.
by
I'm
Tucker?
not sure where it came from exactly. That is just a random Twitter account. I think it was Will Free State at Will Free State, I think was the individual who had
But
posted
you said
it.
that McCarthy gave it all to Tucker Carlson.
Mhm.
So,
So right, maybe some of it had been released in the meantime.
I'm just looking right now, see if Tucker's even done anything. I don't know if I even follow Tucker Carlson on Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter, although Action for Liberty is starting to build an audience on it. Unless he's got some alternative means, I don't see anything here.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably doing a story on it tonight, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably. Tucker's actually the one thing that makes me even remotely still interested in Fox News.
Right.
Although that Gutfeld show was pretty funny. I kind of like his long rants. They're pretty funny. And that one girl he's always razzing on there too, the one with the glasses, really like petite short girl.
Yep.
But yeah, Tucker. Most of Fox News I can't even stomach, but Tucker, he's pretty good.
And he was a huge improvement over Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly was the primetime guy for a while, and then Bill O'Reilly got in trouble, and then Tucker Carlson was the next to fill the seat. And Tucker is awesome.
Yeah, I'm a bit older than you guys, so I remember when Fox News really started up in the '90s, and O'Reilly was this big thing. It was this no spin zone, and he was the tough Irish Catholic that was gonna expose the stuff. And the guy towers over people. He's like 6'5" or something like that. So Bill O'Reilly had this thing. Everyone was really fascinated. It was something you never saw before. It got old. I don't think I watched it much in like the new millennium. What I appreciate about Tucker Carlson is you're watching this clown show, right? And we'll get into this about the balloons. We're watching this clown show live all the time. And he basically takes it. He appropriates the right emotions to what he's seeing, basically making it into a clown show, just joking about it, right? Because how else do you navigate the stories of the day? And I think one of those stories is Jan 6. It's so obvious they found a bunch of useful idiots that they could push into the Capitol to spin this narrative.
Yep.
It was so obvious that's what they were doing. There's the, what's the guy's name that was so clearly like an informant for the...
Ray Epps?
Yeah, Ray Epps.
Right.
Yeah. And it's probably not with the FBI because his lawyer said that this guy has never served with a law enforcement agency. So it's like, oh, what about the CIA? What about like the defense intelligence? Like never law enforcement. Okay, so it's not FBI. We got the wrong acronym.
Right. There's all those videos of him saying, we're going to go into the Capitol tomorrow. And people are saying, what are you talking about?
Right.
No, we're not. He says, yes, we are. We're going in. We're marching in. And everybody's telling him, calm down. What are you talking about?
Travels from Arizona all the way to Washington, D.C., to hear Donald Trump, his beloved president, speak, and never makes it to Donald Trump's speech. He just goes right to the first place that the mob went basically into the Capitol.
Yep,
building.
and the whole story of January 6th, Trump was going to speak. He even finished his speech saying, we're going to head to the Capitol. I'll meet you over there, and I'm going to speak in front of the Capitol building.
Right.
That was the ultimate plan. And then that had to get canceled because of these agent provocateurs and the idiots who went into the Capitol building.
Yeah, and I remember they took Trump saying, we're going to fight or we got to fight or something like that. And they took that as if that was his battle call. And it's like, we talk that way all the time in politics. That's always how you talk. You got to fight against this stuff. I've never said take up arms. Never said commit felony acts. But fight means basically, yes, we're going to go to their district. We're going to knock on their
and make your
doors.
voice heard, right?
Yes, make your voice heard.
Well, and even though these people went into the Capitol, I wouldn't call them idiots, by the way. They didn't do anything wrong. We shouldn't really play up what happened on January 6th. Yes, there were agent provocateurs who encouraged these people to go in, but they didn't do anything when they went in. They were just walking around.
All right. It's not fair to label them all idiots, and I'll tell you why in just 1 second.
Yeah.
But clearly you saw some idiots coming in there.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, we're in there. It's like, you're not supposed to be in there. Why are you doing this? Now
it's
you're
the
just
people's
giving
house. Why you can go in any other time? Why is
yeah,
this
but
such a special
when there's
time?
armed guards in front of it saying that this is not this is shut down to
Right.
go in there, you're basically giving in to the left wing narrative. That's
Fair
why they're
enough.
idiots, right? Now here's what's not idiotic, and there's a woman being prosecuted right now in Minnesota for whatever. Maybe it's insurrection, but a bunch of things, breaking and entering. You can see a video. We tried getting her on the show last week. We're going to continue trying. I don't know what the status is of that, but you can see a video of her going, do not go in there. These are not our people. Because there's people left and right trying to break in. Eventually, when there's a bunch of people, you're in the crowd, she gets pushed in there. It's like if you're by the windows and you're like, don't go in there, and there's video showing this, and then you get pushed in, yeah, I don't care how strong of a person you are, you're not getting out of that, right? And so she gets pushed in, gets mazed, and now she's being prosecuted for that. It's like, that's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
So I don't think they're all idiots that went in there.
Right. Yeah,
and
no,
certainly
like you're
not
saying.
close to what Antifa's done. They didn't burn down the Capitol or anything like that. You have goofy buffalo horn dude that just goes to the speaker's rostrum. That's it. Like, you don't have. In fact, the only person that died that day from
Ashley Babbitt.
wounds was Ashley Babbitt, which was a Trump supporter who got shot, and a lot of questions about that. All right. Well, anyhow, we probably lost our YouTube account now here because
Oh yeah, I forgot about
as
that.
we talked about something that is against their narrative. So anyhow, we are broadcasting back on YouTube. I appreciate you guys following on YouTube. Let's talk about. Do we have any comments on that section there, Bridget?
Yeah, we have a comment
Go ahead.
from Epic CJ Williams on YouTube. He says Walz declared a state of emergency and is calling the National Guard to help because of the storm, but did nothing when the riots broke out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I'm reading a comment. I remember watching Senator Ress almost hyperventilate last year wearing a face diaper, even when they weren't mandatory. I thought for sure she was going to pass out. Yeah, fair point. You know, Senator Ann put you to rest. Wearing face diaper, it's probably not the best thing for you. It's just you have so low energy, probably low oxygen. To restrict that anymore is just not going to go well.
Yeah.
Sleepy time.
Mm-hmm.
What else, Bridget?
So CRA677 on YouTube says, I'm just going to go ahead and predict the outcome of the vote now before the vote even begins. But he didn't live at prediction.
Yeah, I mean, you would imagine that the Democrats don't bring it to the Senate floor unless they have the votes. And when you have the Chamber of Compromise backing this thing, which is like, you know, and I got to say, you know, the Chamber of Compromise, the state Chamber of Commerce, right? That's way different than your local chain of Chamber of Commerce, like Lake Elmo Chamber of Commerce or you know, Egan's Chamber of Commerce or Cross Lakes Chamber of Commerce. It's way different than having the statewide Chamber of Commerce, which is really just an establishment tool. Now, they generally lean a little bit more pro-Republican, but Tim Walz addressed the Chamber of Commerce at their meeting in January, or their big dinner event where they bring all the legislators and lobbyists together. Such a
So
beautiful
when we talk about the chamber, we're talking about the lobbyists and
Yeah.
the people that make up that organization, not the businesses that are a part of the chamber.
Right. By the way, Chamber also always going against conservative candidates, essentially. They're always spending money against conservative candidates in the primaries so they get involved in the Republican primaries to try to get rid of the conservatives. And here they are backing the driver's license for illegals. So, you know, when they back someone like Tony Jurgens, I guess, against Tom DePel, basically they're like, yeah, Tony Jurgens is better for driver's license for illegals. And I'd be remiss by not mentioning we are on the cusp of driver's license for illegals because of Tony Jurgens, that traitor who decided I'm going to endorse a Democrat and flip the Senate to their control. Okay, and that's a great point. Once this thing passes, you're going to have more votes. I used to think the Democrats are always looking for that poison pill when it comes to voting. It's not that. They just chip away a little bit here and there, right? So felon voting, you know, there's a constituency there for them. You know, we were talking about should someone be able to vote in prison? I'm once again like a nonviolent criminal voting in prison. I think you can make an argument for it. And then we're like, wait a second, that's just going to be another ballot harvesting technique by the left wing, right?
Yep.
So obviously they just chip away. 16 and 17-year-olds registered to vote. 46 days to vote. Most liberal absentee ballot laws in the nation. All these little things don't deliver, in essence, one poison pill. They're just a bunch of things that together mean that they're going to win most future elections. You basically have to have a red wave just for the Republicans to take back control. So razor-thin margin elections are just going to be tougher and tougher with these things. And that's the thing about this bill, and you wrote about in the article, is there is no provision in there that says this is a non-voting citizen, because that would be a stigma. That would be really hard for these people who aren't supposed to be here when they go to show their driver's license, which is absolutely asinine.
Right.
And it's, you know, it's not beyond me that the government. Well, I won't get into that. All right, let's talk about. We got to talk about the balloon, right? Dawson, will you pull up this footage? We were the first to break this kamikaze mission. Apparently, Biden. On probably YouTube channel, Dawson. Apparently, Biden. Do I have this right? Authorized a new mission against
That's what
these
I heard.
UFOs.
And that's what it looks like in the footage that we got.
Yeah. In fact, this is probably the best footage. I think this might be the only footage we have of actually one of these UFOs, so we can finally see what the heck he's shooting down. So this is an image. Biden authorized now kamikaze missions against the UFOs.
At their recommendation, I gave the order to take down these objects.
Oh my God! Oh,
Wow.
unbelievable!
Good thing we had Dawson on the ground there.
Yes,
to catch that.
I can't believe you're looking up at the sky, Dawson, at that moment. For those who haven't been there, of course, we got this beautiful sky painting as you go to our training room. It's so awesome. My 2-year-old was so upset when I took that drone this morning because he likes to chase that around the house when I'm flying it, and that thing is so you saw I had to like go left and then right. It's just so inaccurate. I remember Christmas morning we gave it to, what did my 5-year-old get that? And it flew real well, and there's been so much damage to that thing. It's amazing I can even get up airborne anymore. Jesse, has our federal government shot down like civilian balloons from the sky? Is that what's going on?
That's the story. I mean, I don't believe anything anymore. I'm too skeptical. I wish I had my tinfoil hat here because, you know, I don't believe anything Biden's saying. I don't believe anything this group is saying. Oh, that was our $12 balloon. I don't believe any of it anymore. I think we're, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm not trusting anyone anymore.
What do you think, William?
I really don't know what to think. Like, on one hand, if Biden's shooting down hobby balloons, his administration's incompetent. On the other hand, if he's lying about it and hiding something, then his administration's corrupt. Like, either way, it's a lose-lose situation for the American people.
Well, it just seems very weird that all these hobby balloons just happen to go up at the same time, just as we're wondering about these Chinese spy balloons.
Well, what if this is always happening, though?
You know, maybe that's the case, but I know that every time I go outside, I don't see balloons everywhere.
We didn't even know that these were balloons. Like, we haven't even recovered the damage from...
Yeah,
right,
what's
and Biden,
with that?
Biden won't even collect the debris anymore. He's giving up. It's unbelievable.
Right.
As to busy holding hands with Zelensky over in Ukraine. Did you guys see this? Biden says, where's this quote? Where did I see this? He says, Ukraine will not lose to Russia. Did you see this?
No.
Joe Biden, Ukraine. I'm just going to Google this on the flight.
I did see that China is prepared to get involved if the U.S. continues its support for Ukraine, which, you know, that's the beginning of World War III, essentially.
This is from, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and this is the problem. And let's get into this, and then we'll sign off today. And I'd love to hear from you guys at home. Ukraine's such a taboo topic because it seems like anytime you even question the official narrative by the media and both the Republican and Democrat establishment, here's the one where the Republicans and Democrats, it's one big party, right? It's Ukraine. Once you question the narrative, oh, you're pro-Putin, which is absolutely ridiculous. So according to Bloomberg, Joe Biden said Vladimir Putin will never win his war in Ukraine. So he's basically saying that victory will be there for Ukraine. So when the President of the United States, who keeps sending military aid, says something like that, and we're fighting a war with Russia by proxy, you have to believe that now America's policy is whatever it takes, Ukraine will win this war.
Right. Yeah, I think the U.S. has said we will not accept anything less than a complete Russian defeat.
Right.
So they're not even open to any kind of peace talks other than a complete withdrawal, which is crazy.
That's
to
so
me.
crazy.
And which this thing will never end if that's the case.
So what is this story? Because I hadn't seen this, but you were talking about China getting involved with Ukraine.
Yeah, it was a story that people were talking about this morning. Just look up China.
China
Russia.
says certain countries must stop fueling the fire in Ukraine. It's
Yeah,
seeking
it's
role in Ukraine's space or peace settlement. And then you got CNN with the clickbait. What would happen if China supports Russia in Ukraine war?
Right.
The Hill. China deeply worried Russia-Ukraine war could spiral out of control. China's Xi Jinping plans Russia visit as Putin wages war in Ukraine. So there you go. That's the Wall Street Journal 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
That's probably the most credible. So
Not good.
Communist leader Xi is going to basically go meet with Putin. Not that I'm against meeting with world leaders. My God, Trump had to actually go meet with Little Rocket Man. Which,
Yep.
I mean, once again, crazy, but you got to do it because peace, if you can achieve peace, Well, let me tell you my thoughts on war, and I feel like I can have these views because I am an Iraq War veteran. I was also in Eastern Europe. I was a Kosovo. I wouldn't want to call Kosovo War veteran because that had nothing to do with us. We were basically peacekeeping. Wars are just mostly these days politicians against politicians, and all of us poor saps get roped into it, right? Like, I have no beef with the average Russian citizen, right? Putin's a madman. Putin's a terrible human being. So is Joe Biden, by the way. I would gladly give up Joe Biden to go fight Putin, get his ass kicked because, Putin was a judo champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bring Donald Trump back, right, Jesse? And Donald Trump, despite not being in the best of shape, would probably clobber little Putin because Putin's like 5'8".
Yeah,
Trump's in the WWE Hall of Fame.
That's
That's
right.
right.
He's WWE Hall of Fame. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about what you were just saying there about how important it is to visit world leaders and that you need to favor peace. And I was just looking up a quote Trump had said because it was when he had met with Putin and he was getting a lot of blowback for it. He said, "I would rather take a political risk in pursuit of peace than to risk peace in pursuit of politics." And I think that's exactly the type of
is a good one.
mindset that, strong leaders need to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, just you met with Little Rocket Man, like all the Kims, terrible, horrible human beings.
Yep.
The greatest atrocities of our generation being done in North Korea in terms of civil rights.
Yep.
Like it's literally a prison. That's what North Korea is. But if you can avoid a armed conflict, a war with North Korea, you
Yeah,
gotta
that's
do it.
huge.
And Russia, Ukraine, everything we can to bring them to peace. What isn't going to lead to peace is America opening up her checkbook. And I got to say this. Who are we to open a damn checkbook when we are so far in debt?
Yeah.
This is why I think it's very treasonous what our politicians are doing to us. And no one seems to want to say this. So we're going to say it here on our show. These people are treasonous for taking us further into debt to give aid to a country fighting Russia by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
That's treasonous because you're actually harming my children and our future American prosperity by sending us further into debt.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows where the hell this leads. And that's the
And
thing.
it's unconstitutional. I mean, where's the Declaration of War Powers Act? They haven't even filed that this is a declaration of war. And U.S. involvement, even if that means non-personnel, if it's just the sale of weapons and strategic involvement, I would still say that means that the U.S. has a presence in this Ukrainian war.
Yeah.
So it's unconstitutional by itself too.
And, our founding generation warned us of these entangling alliances.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very problematic. There's this principle blowback, which is so obvious. Anyone that has any bit of an open mind and is not John Bolton would understand that once you do something overseas, it's going to have blowback. And we can't ignore the fact that Seymour Hersh, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, literally has a story out there on a Substack that says basically Biden authorized the destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline, which is an act of war. I don't know how anyone would look at that as not an act of war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I thought. Is that why these these balloons are being shot out of the air? Is it a distraction from probably one of the most important stories of the new millennium, right?
One country was doing an investigation after that story broke. I forgot which country it was. It was like
Finland
Germany or something.
like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
something
Germany
like,
would make sense because they had a lot to do with that. Like,
right.
benefits.
Some country is opening an investigation now because of Seymour Hersh's reporting.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
see.
that's good.
We'll see how quickly that gets quashed. Probably get quashed like the record of or the Epstein list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One last thing we got to talk about is this James O'Keefe not resignation. Sorry, actually, I'm kind of confused on this one.
I thought it was a resignation. That's actually what I put up on Facebook, Twitter, Truth. And so people in the comments were like, no, he was forced out.
Yeah, but the board is
Right,
saying
and the
that
board
they
is
would-
saying otherwise too, that they didn't force him out and they didn't fire him. So
So
they're
he said,
saying
she
two
said
separate
sort of,
things, right?
yeah.
James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, in case you're not tracking that. Project Veritas infamously cracked a lot of things. Acorn was like probably their big story from the early, what was that? God, was that a decade ago? Anyhow, most recently setting a guy up on a date and 3 dates in finds out, he's a Pfizer exec or Pfizer, what's his job at Pfizer? I can't remember.
Right.
Is exec fine? I don't know if exec's
Well,
right
they
term.
don't find out that he's a Pfizer executive, but they set him up because they knew.
Yeah,
they-
sorry. They set him up. They knew he was a Pfizer exec, and then he admits to basically that Pfizer is doing gain of function research,
Right.
Yep.
which is ridiculous. But what do they call it? Enhanced evolution.
Yeah, something
Yeah, right.
crazy like that.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So then James O'Keefe, almost immediately following that, ends up going on a leave of absence. I think it was initially understood that it was like some disagreements with staff, and then he opens up, and you can go look for this yourself.
We posted the video on Twitter, Truth.
The short video, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's the short video. I think he posted the full thing, but if you want to quickly find it, you can go to action_for_liberty on Truth, and then action_liberty on Twitter.
Gotcha. Okay. Fascinating stuff. All right, let's sign off with comments here, Bridget. Anything that's still in the hopper?
Not any new ones on the topics you guys were just talking about, but we did have Giant Killen earlier when talking about the elections, who said, I cannot go to China and expect to get a driver's license and vote in their elections. How is this possible here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brad Ganser said many of the chambers are filled with the swampies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brad would know. No
Yeah,
doubt about
you're
it.
right that there's no other country in the world that would ever propose, legislation like this to allow illegal immigrants to vote. It's only our country that's dumb enough.
Oh, it's not voting. It's just
Right,
driver's license.
right. I know that's
Easy
what they
there.
say. That's what they say.
You can register same day in elections, and all you need is proof of residency, or
Yep.
what is it? Proof of
Yeah, they don't even have to show their ID.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. In Minnesota, you could just have, I think, the
Like
most
utility
recent
bill or
utility
something.
bill to the address to
Mhm.
vote. Yeah, that's how easy it is.
Or
to
even just
vote.
have a friend come and say, "Oh yeah, they live there."
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
can
no
have
one's
a
gonna
friend
question-
vouch for you.
Yeah,
It's
if you got
unbelievable.
vouching. God, I forgot about that. Yeah, they got vouching. But literally, a driver's license is the easiest one. You have a driver's license,
Right.
and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're a citizen."
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
game over for Republicans in Minnesota if that
Well,
passes.
I don't want to go that far. I don't think it's game over. I don't think, once again, I don't think there's this big poison pill here. I just think that in the end of the day, because once again, it's still a felony act.
That's
for-
true, but how do you catch these people then? You know what I mean?
Well, if they've got a legit address, so you're saying they're getting these driver's license with not a legit address on it?
Well, what do you? S-
You know,
Oh,
I-
so you're
I'm gonna
saying
re-
you can go back through the voter rolls and then see?
Yeah.
Oh wait, they're not a citizen. But how do you find someone's citizenship
How
status?
are you going to find that? That is a great
Mhm.
observation there,
Mhm.
William. You know, the other thing is, why would I think they're not going to commit a felony? They've already committed a crime to get here.
Which
don't
we're
respect our-
openly saying is okay.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
the other thing is, by giving them a driver's license, aren't you just validating the illegal activity?
And
that they
now,
committed?
Right.
if they do commit that felony, they'll still have their voting rights if this HF 28 passes.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah. And but the Biden border, it's completely open. This is going to be very attractive to these illegal immigrants. They say, well, look, if we go to Minnesota, we can get a driver's license. That's a big incentive for them to come to Minnesota. That's not a good thing for our
Well, and
for
by
our
the
state.
way, let's stop this narrative that they're not able to get driver's licenses as of now. You are able to get a special class driver's license if you're an illegal immigrant here in Minnesota. It's about their argument is about erasing the stigma of having a special driver's license.
Wow.
They want to be able to blend in, have no questions asked when they're pulled over or whatever. So
Right.
Mm.
it's
The people that are here illegally.
Yeah, that's
there's
not
there's
good.
there's no hiding what they're doing
Yeah.
here. It's
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah, if you want to just see how broken politics is, because obviously I want more liberalized immigration in the United States. But you can't have a nation if you don't have laws, and those laws have a border, right? And so, allow people to come here, don't give them voting rights. And there's got to be a pathway to citizenship. This idea that we just turn this, shoulder and ignoring the fact that there's tens of millions of illegal people fleeing into this or flooding into this country, and then we're just going to give them driver's licenses. Absolutely asinine. Let's have a more liberalized process of bringing these people here, because if it's work, then great, it's work, but you got to have some damn laws. That's the thing that really bugs me about this whole thing.
MAGA Jesse and I, we looked at each other in agreement here. We disagree with you on the more liberalized
What do you
process of
disagree with?
immigration.
Oh yeah.
I think we've got
We got a pretty liberal system as it stands right now.
No, I mean actually a liberal process, meaning like liberal is such a bastardized terminology, right? It's
Well, you want more people coming here.
what I want to say is that we should allow people that want to come here and be, to work, right? We want good people coming here. So
Yeah, there's a limit, though. We can't take
well, I agree.
everybody.
There's got to be a
Everybody
limit.
wants
Yeah,
to come.
there's got to
so
be a
we-
limit, no doubt
yeah.
about it. But I'm saying we could liberalize that because obviously there's a need for a lot of workers, right?
I mean, we should probably tackle our welfare system first. That allows all these people to take welfare checks without working, and that's
you
why
have
you
no
have the
disagreement
worker
with me on
shortage.
that one, right? Yeah, definitely not. See, you're only coming here to enhance our society, not to be a leech on our society. 100% agree with you on that.
Mhm.
You don't get a vote. You don't. Well, if you're going to earn wages, you're going to have to pay taxes like everyone else, but you're not going to get the benefits of the system. And people still come because it's America. We're the greatest. Well, are we still the greatest country?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we are.
I
still
think
the
we are.
greatest
We're
country.
we're
just
going
led
down
by
the
an
drain,
idiot.
but
Yeah.
Compared
we can
to-
still recover, and we are the best.
I agree, but again, like you said, we're going down the drain, and we're still the greatest country in the world. But that says more about
But we're not great.
every other country in the world
His
than
hat,
it does
his
the
hat
United-
would be pointless if we were great. So we're not great. We got to make
Right.
it a great.
Yep, we're
Right,
good,
right.
not great.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying is that you gotta allow people. Like obviously, there's a lot of illegals that are filling jobs here. A lot of jobs that a lot of other people don't want, right?
Well,
so my thought is, that's just how it's going. So why don't we have a more liberalized process to allow that?
And this isn't to say anything about people who do come here, who immigrate here. There are a lot of great people who come here. I just think that they too often get used as pawns by the left, and they're
100%.
advancing their agenda because of immigration.
100%. But
And the cheap labor, all that does is screw over the American people. Then
Right.
you bring in
That's
these
crony
illegals to
capitalism.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You bring in these illegals that you can pay under minimum wage, and then you're leaving the American people out to dry. I don't like any of that.
yeah, I do think there's a lot of jobs though that most Americans don't want, and so once again, it just comes down to you got to have a border and you got to have a process, and the process is so ridiculous. That's the breakdown of the political world. I mean, like if there's anything the politicians have really screwed up, it's this problem here, and it doesn't seem like Democrats or Republicans really want to fix that problem, right? Just building a wall isn't going to fix this, right? Because there's ways to get around a wall.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's about the total border security. So yeah.
Right. Okay. I think we'll be back on Thursday at 1:00. I think.
Either in studio or maybe we can set up something remote.
Yeah,
if
I
we
don't
can't
like
make
those
it.
remote. It's not as much fun.
well,
Let's
maybe I
try
won't
to
be
do
here.
studio. I guess William won't be here because he'll either be at his country club. Or Just
well, now
kidding.
I gotta show
That
up.
wasn't fair. Or you'll be incapable of leaving your driveway, which seems to be your problem when there's a flake.
I'm gonna pick up some salt on my way home here.
That's what
so-
normal people do. And by the way, you might not be able to pick up salt because Lowe's was out last night.
Oh shoot, really?
Yeah, I had to go to Ace.
I was gonna go over to Walmart and see what they
Yeah,
have.
I'm thinking you're not going to have much luck there at Walmart. Salt's high demand right now. Luckily, you got a 50-pound bag last night. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll hopefully be back on Thursday at 1:00. We are live every Tuesday and Thursday at 1. Bundle up, get out there, remove some snow, have a good time, make some soup chili or something like that, something warm. We're in for a big, big storm apparently in Minnesota. And if I'm wrong, it's just because that lying corporate media telling us that we need to prepare for the big snowmageddon. But I think it's going to happen. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.